The train stood silent at the edge of the world. Wind howled through broken fences. Dust swirled in the dry air like ghosts. Corvin stood on the platform, gripping a one-way ticket in his scarred hand. His coat was old, torn at the sleeves. His eyes were tired. He didn't look like a hero. He looked like a man running from something heavy. He stepped onto the train without a word. No one looked at him. No one asked his name. Inside, the train smelled like rust and old stories. The few passengers kept to themselves. Some wore hoods. Some had cybernetic arms or glowing eyes. Corvin sat by the window, staring out at the dead land beyond. He had no luggage, only a photo, folded many times, stuffed in his jacket. It showed 5 soldiers standing in a field, smiling. He was the only one still alive. The train hissed and began to move. The city faded behind. The wasteland stretched ahead. Then she walked in. A tall woman with a cloak, a limp, and a long scar down her face. Her eyes were sharp, too sharp. She sat across from Corvin, saying nothing for a long time. Corvin ignored her, or tried to. "You're running?" she said finally. He turned. "You don't know me." She leaned closer. "I don't have to. I can smell it." Regret? Guilt? Blood? Corvin's jaw tightened. "I bought a ticket." She gave a dry laugh. "This train is going straight into it." "What do you mean?" "There's something on this train. Hiding, watching." Waiting, he stared at her. "What are you?" She looked out the window. "A huntress. And I'm tracking something that doesn't belong in this world." The train shook. Lights flickered. Something hit the roof hard. Passengers gasped. One woman screamed. A man dropped his cup. "What was that?" Someone asked. Corvin stood slowly. His instincts woke up like an old machine. He wasn't just a broken man. He was once a soldier, very good one. The woman across from him stood too. She pulled a bone knife from her cloak. "You're coming with me," she said. "No, yes. You've seen war. You've seen death. That thing hunts the broken, and right now, it's hunting you." Before he could answer, the lights went out. Total darkness. Then came the sound scratching above, a wet breath, a dragging chain. Corvin moved. Fast, he grabbed a metal rod from under a seat. His muscles remembered how to fight. "Follow me," the woman said. Her voice was calm. They moved through the shaking train, past frozen passengers. One door slammed shut behind them on its own. The cargo bay was colder. Crates lined the walls. Something was breathing behind them. Corvin raised the rod. The woman raised her knife. Then he saw it. Eyes like fire. Long claws. A body made of shadows and teeth. Corvin froze. The creature looked at him. Man smiled. "You don't fight it," the woman whispered. "You survive it." Then she ran straight at the monster. And Corvin, with his broken past, followed her into the dark. The creature roared. Its voice shook the cargo bay like thunder. Boxes tumbled. Sparks flew from a broken light. Corvin ducked just in time. The metal rod in his hand shook like it was afraid. Kelithias, that was her name, moved like smoke. Fast, sharp, wild. She rolled under the creature's claws and sliced upward. Her bone knife scratched the beast's skin, but not deep. It was too strong. Corvin saw her eyes as she fought. She had done this before. Many times, but this time she wasn't trying to win. She was trying to survive. He ran to her side, swinging his rod. It hit the beast's leg. It felt like hitting stone. "Don't try to kill it," Kelith shouted. "Stall it." The beast growled and turned toward Corvin. Its head was long, its mouth open too wide. Its teeth didn't look natural. Corvin moved back, fast, heart pounding. The thing swiped at him, missing by an inch. "Run," Kelith yelled, grabbing his arm. They rushed out of the cargo bay, slamming the door behind them. She jammed her knife into the lock. "Won't hold long," she said. "Come on." They moved through the shaking train. Passengers screamed as the walls shook again. Kelleth pulled him into an empty cabin and locked the door. "What was that thing?" Corvin asked, breathing hard. Kelleth sat on the floor, her back against the wall. She wiped blood from her cheek. "I saw it once before," she said. "A long time ago, on a planet they erased from the maps. Erased. The Council, the Alliance, whatever name they use now. They covered it up. Said it was a virus, a storm. But it wasn't. It was that thing." Corvin frowned. "You're not just a huntress." "No," she whispered. "I was a scout, military, like you. My whole team was wiped out. Only I escaped." He looked at her scar. "That's when you got that." She nodded. "And that's when I started hunting it." Corvin sat down across from her. "You knew it would be on this train?" "No," she said. "But I felt something. A pattern. Towns going silent. Settlers vanishing. I followed the signs. They led here." The train lights flickered again. Corvin stood. "We can't keep running. There are innocent people on board." Kelleth looked up. "You really want to be a hero again?" "I never was," he said. "But I know what happens when no one fights." She stared at him for a moment, then nodded. "We'll need weapons," she said. Corvin thought. "There's a security locker near the engine room." They stepped out of the cabin just as the ceiling above groaned. A claw punched through the metal. Corvin shoved Kelleth forward. "Run." They dashed through narrow halls. The creature crashed behind them, ripping through walls. Passengers screamed and scattered. Corvin grabbed a fire axe from the wall. Kelleth picked up a broken metal pipe. Together, they turned and faced the hallway. The creature stopped at the far end. It stared at them, slow and calm. "Why is it not attacking?" Corvin asked. Kelleth's eyes narrowed. "'Cause it knows something." "Like what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped forward. "I saw too much," she whispered. "It didn't come here for just blood. It came here for me." And then the beast smiled. The monster vanished. One blink, and it was gone like smoke sucked into a hole. Corvin stood frozen. His heart pounded in his ears. Kelleth didn't move. Her hand clenched around the pipe. Her scar twitched. "Where did it go?" Corvin whispered. Kelleth slowly stepped forward. "It's not running. It's hiding, watching. That's what it does. It learns." Corvin looked around the wrecked hallway walls, scratched, lights hanging loose, blood on the floor. He pointed down the corridor. "The engine room's ahead. If we reach it, maybe we can stop the train. Or slow it down." Kelleth nodded. "Tay, and if there's a weapons locker, we need it." They moved quickly now, stepping over broken metal, avoiding loud footsteps. The train groaned as it passed through the Dead Hills Blackstone Mountains with ancient tunnels, forgotten tracks, and strange echoing winds. Corvin hated this place already. At the engine door, he stopped and knocked. "Anyone inside?" No answer. He tried again. Nothing. Kelleth stepped forward. "Let me." She pressed a small device to the door. It clicked. The door slid open with a creak, but the engine room was empty. Corvin walked in, confused. "Where's the driver?" The controls blinked red. Warning signs flashed on the screens. Systems failing. Navigation scrambled. Kelleth cursed under her breath. "This train isn't on its planned route." Corvin looked at her. "What do you mean?" She pulled out a small map screen from her coat. The train was supposed to pass through Sector 8, but this track goes toward the Hollow route. That place was closed for 20 years. Corvin stepped back. "That's a military zone, abandoned after a black site breach." "Exactly," Kelleth whispered. "The place I saw that thing for the first time." Corvin felt a chill. "You think it changed the route?" "No," she said. "I think someone else did." To bring it home, the floor shook. They both turned. The screen behind them lit up lines of code, moving too fast. Someone hacked the system, Kelleth said. This train is bait. Corvin tightened his grip on the fire axe. Then, we're the trap. Suddenly, something moved outside the engine room window. Not the beast. A man, wearing a black uniform with no rank. Face covered, holding a small device blinking red. Kelleth cursed. Saboteur Corvin rushed out the door. Hey, stop. But the man turned and ran down the maintenance corridor. Corvin chased him fast, his legs burning. Kelleth followed with a hiss. The man reached a sealed door and turned to fight. He swung a shock baton. Corvin ducked and slammed into him with his shoulder. They both crashed to the floor. Kelleth kicked the weapon from the man's hand. Who are you? She demanded. The man laughed under his mask. Corvin pulled it off. His face was pale, too pale. His eyes weren't right. No pupils, Corvin muttered. Synthetic. Kelleth stepped back. A clone. No. Not just that. The man's skin split near his neck, revealing black veins. Too black. He's infected, she whispered. With shaking fingers, she scanned him. The device beeped red. He's not human anymore, she said. The thing's inside him. Corvin dropped the axe. This wasn't a random attack, he said slowly. This train, this route. It was planned. Kelleth nodded. They're spreading it, quietly, using old tracks. Lost trains. The clone started laughing. Too late, he whispered. You're already inside the mouth. Then his body twisted and burst into shadow. Kelleth pulled Corvin back as black smoke filled the hall. The beast was using bodies now. And they were on a train with no brakes. The smoke didn't move like normal smoke. It crawled. It sneaked along the ceiling, searching. Corvin slammed the door shut, locking it with a loud snap. Kelleth threw her coat over the floor vent. Black mist hissed underneath, but didn't rise. For now? That wasn't just a clone, she whispered. It was a carrier. A walking door. Corvin turned to her. A door to what? Kelleth looked at him. Something older than war. Older than species. The lights blinked red. Warning, unauthorized track engaged. The train's voice echoed from overhead. Robotic, calm. Lying, Corvin pulled up the map again. There's a sealed cargo car behind the supply cabin. It's not on the original blueprint. Kelleth narrowed her eyes. Then it wasn't built with the rest. It wasn't meant to be found, Corvin said. The train rocked suddenly, harder than before. Something heavy had jumped back onto the roof. They didn't wait. Together, they pushed through the rattling hallway. Passengers had locked themselves in, too afraid to move. A few stared through broken glass windows, whispering prayers to alien gods. Kelleth led the way now. Her limp was worse, but she didn't slow down. At last, they reached the door to the cargo section. It was cold, too cold. Mist drifted around the floor. The metal was darker than the rest, almost black. No handle, no control pad. Kelleth pressed her hand against it. Bylock. She drew a thin needle from her pouch and pricked her palm. Blood hit the surface. The door side end slid open. Inside was silence. No crates. No guards. Just a single tank in the center, filled with thick blue liquid. And inside the tank, a child. Or something that looked like one. Small, pale, floating tubes in its arms. Eyes closed. Skin glowing faintly green. Corvin stepped back. What is that? Kelleth's voice cracked. That's not cargo. That's a beacon. What? Some species use sound. Others use smell. This one? It uses memory, emotion. The creature we thought it hunted by instinct. But it's smarter than that. She pointed at the tank. That thing sends out feelings. Regret, sadness, loss. It pulls the broken in. calls the monster to feed. Corvin stared at her. So the train was a trap. But not just for the beast. No, Keyleth said. For you. For me? For everyone who hurts. Suddenly, the child's eyes opened. Black, bottomless. The tank shattered. Corvin raised his axe. Keyleth raised her knife. But the thing didn't move. It floated down slowly, landed on its feet. Then it smiled. Corvin stepped back, his whole body tense. It spoke not with sound, but inside their heads. You brought it closer, Keyleth flinched. Why? Because broken things must be erased. The door slammed shut behind them. Locked. The walls pulsed with strange heat. Corvin whispered, "We're inside its heart now." The child tilted its head. The hunt is not over. You are not prey. You are. Part of it now, Keyleth screamed and threw her knife. It passed through the childlike mist. The lights exploded. Darkness. Corvin reached for Keyleth's hand. Don't let go. But she was gone. Keyleth woke up on soft grass. But the train was gone. No cold metal, no echoing screams. Just a bright sky above, full of orange clouds and two suns. She blinked. She knew this place. The green hills, the stone tree, the sound of birds she hadn't heard in years. This was her childhood home. But that was impossible. She stood slowly. Her limp was gone. Her scar, too. And her hands, they were smaller. Younger? No, she whispered. This isn't real. A voice behind her made her freeze. Keyleth, come on. Race me to the lake. She turned and saw a girl. Long red hair, bright eyes. Her sister, dead for 15 years. Keyleth backed away, heart racing. This isn't real, she said again, louder. The girl smiled. It is if you stay. Keyleth closed her eyes. The last time she saw her sister was the day the village burned. The beast came from the forest. No one believed the warnings. Keyleth survived. Her sister didn't. When she opened her eyes again, the lake was gone. So was the grass. She was back in the black cargo car, alone. The broken tank lay in pieces. The air was heavy, thick, like syrup. Her limbs felt slow. A whisper filled her head. Did you like your memory? Keyleth's hand reached for her knife, but it wasn't there. She wasn't in control of her body. She turned slowly and Corvin stood there. But he was wrong. His eyes were blank. His voice was hollow. Keyleth, he said, smiling. You never left that place. You're still running. She stepped back. You're not him. He laughed. Neither are you. Suddenly, her scar burned. She clutched her face. Pain exploded in her mind. And then she saw things. Memories that weren't hers. Fighting in a jungle of red mist, holding a child with scales. Kneeling before a council of lights, she screamed. Voices layered over voices, faces over faces. Too many? When it stopped, she collapsed, breathing hard. Her hand touched the florent, found something. A shard of the broken tank. She grabbed it. The fake Corvin stepped closer. Don't do it. She didn't listen. She stabbed the shard into her leg. Pain, real pain. And suddenly, everything snapped back. Her scar returned. Her limp returned. And the illusion shattered like glass. The cargo car reformed around her. The real Corvin was in the corner, barely awake, tied in black vines. She crawled to him. Corvin, wake up. He opened one eye. You're real? She nodded. I think so. He groaned. That thing, ... it makes you forget who you are. I know, she said. It tried to rewrite me. How did you break it? I remembered my pain, she said softly. It wanted me to hide in lies. Corvin pulled the vines away. They stood together. The cargo car lights now pulsed like a heartbeat. The child was gone, but its voice echoed again. If memory makes you strong, then let's see if you survive the truth. A hatch opened in the floor. Below, darkness, moving, twisting, breathing. Kelleth looked at Corvin. We either jump, or we let it consume us. He nodded. Let's finish this. And they jumped into the dark. They fell, not fast, not like falling through air. It was slow, almost gentle, like sinking into water. Or memories. Corvin opened his eyes as he drifted down through black space. Strange lights floated around images, glowing like glass windows in the dark. One showed him as a boy holding a toy ship. Another showed him screaming in a trench, blood on his hands. Kelleth floated beside him, silent, her face pale. Her eyes locked on the scenes passing them by. They weren't just seeing memories, they were being shown, and the voice returned. You are what you remember. That is why you hurt. Corvin shook his head. No, that's not all I am. Then why do you run from it? Another window opened beside him. It showed the moment his squad died in ambush. He had ordered the wrong path. He had survived. He turned his head. Stop it. The voice didn't stop. Kelleth, show him yours. Her eyes filled with tears. No. The air shimmered. Corvin was suddenly standing in a burning village. He heard children cry. He saw Khalith young, desperate, dragging her sister away. And then, the beast. It crashed through homes, black as ash, teeth like swords. Kelleth turned back, but her sister had fallen. Corvin watched as Kelleth screamed and ran back, only to be pulled away by soldiers. He turned to her, still in the floating dark. That's why you hunt it. She nodded. She died calling my name, and I ran. Corvin's voice was soft. You were a kid. Kelleth looked up. So were you when your war started. The lights dimmed, and then they landed. Gently, their feet touched metal. A floor, real again. They stood inside a vast underground chamber, glowing with strange blue veins in the walls, like the inside of a living thing. Huge screens lined the walls, and on each screen memories, not just theirs. Thousands, millions, human, alien, soldier, civilian, child. Elder Kelleth whispered. It's feeding on memory. Corvin stepped forward. No, it's collecting them. Why? The voice came again, no longer whispering. Because memory is power. It binds your kind. Break the memory, break the soul. A large platform rose in the center of the room. On it stood a version of the beast, but it had changed. Now it had eyes like Corvin's, a scar like Khalith's. It wore their pain like armor. Kelleth stepped forward, rage in her voice. You're not a god. You're a coward feeding on wounds. The beast growled. You made me your wars, your regrets. I am what you buried. Corvin clenched his fists. Then we dig you up and end you. The room began to shift. The walls turned into mirrors, showing not their faces, but their failures. But this time, Kelleth smiled. I see what you're doing. She looked at Corvin. Remember who you are, she said, not what you regret. Corvin took a deep breath. He closed his eyes and remembered the first time he saved someone, the first time he gave hope. Kelleth remembered holding her sister's hand, singing with her before sleep. The mirrors cracked. The beast screamed. No, you are broken. Kelleth stepped forward. Yes, but I'm still me. The chamber shook, and cracks opened in the floor, light pouring out. Corvin turned to her. This is it. Kelleth nodded.
Elise.
Give it one last memory. They ran toward the beast together. The chamber roared like a storm. Light burst from the cracks beneath their feet. The beast howled, its body twisting. Pieces of old memories peeled from its form faces, voices, cries. They weren't its memories. They belonged to the lost, the broken, the dead. Corvin and Kelleth ran through the chaos side by side. Their pain didn't slow them anymore. It gave them strength. The beast lashed out. Its claws missed them by inches. "I can't hurt it with steel," Corvin shouted. "It absorbs pain." Kelleth skidded to a stop. "Then we give it something it doesn't understand." She reached into her coat and pulled out the old music chip her sister once carried. The last song they sang before everything burned. She tossed it toward the beast. It hit the ground. Music began to play. A child's lullaby. Soft, gentle, pure. The beast screamed. It backed away, covering its ears, but it had no ears. Corvin realized it doesn't know love. "It can't feed on that." Kelleth nodded. "It only understands sorrow, but not healing." Corvin pulled out the worn photo from his jacket, the one with his old squad. He walked toward the beast. "You took my friends. You took my peace. But not my memories. Those are mine." The photo glowed in his hand. Light spread from it like fire. The beast shrieked again. Its body cracked. "You are lies." It screamed. "You are weakness." Corvin stepped closer. "No, I'm human." Kelleth joined him. "And I'm not afraid anymore." The ground split wide open. The beast fell backward, pieces breaking apart, light bursting from its chest. It reached for them one last time, but its hand turned to dust. With a final scream, the creature vanished into the chamber, swallowed by the light of all the real memories it tried to steal. Silence. The ground steadied. The lights dimmed. The chamber was still. Kelleth fell to her knees, shaking. Corvin sat beside her. "You all right?" he asked. She looked at him. "I think I remember who I am now." He smiled. "That makes one of us." They laughed, tired but alive. A door opened ahead. Real daylight shone through. The emergency exit. They walked through it slowly, blinking as sunlight touched their faces. Outside, a small rescue craft hovered over a broken ridge. A pilot waved. "You survivors." He shouted. Kelleth looked at Corvin. He nodded. "Yeah, barely." They boarded the ship. As it rose into the sky, Kelleth stared out the window. Beneath them, the train lay broken on old tracks, half swallowed by earth. Corvin sat beside her, holding the old photo. She leaned back. "You think it's really gone?" she asked. "No," Corvin said, "but it can't win anymore. Not unless we forget." She smiled, closing her eyes. "Then we remember." The ship flew into the clouds, and behind them, in the wind, the old music still played. Not as a trap, but as a memory. A real one.